Coming up on this episode of The Village Idiom.
You Smurf villain.
You smurfed the Smurf out of my Smurf. Here we go.
Okay.
Village Idiom. Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every week chooses a popular saying to take a shallow, hopefully comedic, once in a while interesting, if we're lucky, educational. Dive into its usage, its origins.
More like if we're lucky, it's interesting.
Fair enough. Why, you think it's always educational, but not always?
It's always educational.
But not always interesting.
I come away smarter every time. That's what it's really known for.
Well, the one thing we do with it, guaranteed, is use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on.
Guaranteed.
And my name is Jurassic Mark.
I am Skinny. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
All is well. We were able to deal with that stink bug issue.
Yeah, from last week, but we're still sitting.
We're still sitting.
Yeah. Maybe, can you tell? We could be standing. Why do we stand? Why have we spent 2 years standing when we could be sitting?
Well, as we age out, we will guaranteed be sitting. When you roll us into the studio.
We had that one episode because of the flood that we were in the couch, and it was like, what are we standing for?
We'll just change it every time.
I won't stand for this. Anyway, today we're going to talk about this.
Golden Rule trumps everything.
The Golden Rule. The Golden Rule trumps everything. Golden Rule.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When I think about the Golden Rule, my mind very much goes biblical.
Absolutely. The Golden Rule.
I have no idea where it actually comes from or if that's where it comes from at all. But I think the Golden Rule, out comes the Lord and good Jesus-y Jesus stuff.
Good Jesus-y Jesus stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's
the Golden Rule.
What is the Golden Rule to you? Without getting into origins yet.
I don't know.
Jesus stuff. The Golden Rule is...
Do unto others as you would have them do to you.
There you go. We'll find out if you're right.
Don't be a knob. The Golden Rule.
The Golden Rule.
No one likes a knob.
Skinny. Sincerely skinny.
Updated in the new translation.
It's a funny term, hey? Knob. Don't be a knob.
Oh, that's interesting, because that's an idiom, because you're not an actual knob.
Oh, is that an idiom?
Don't be a knob. You're such a knob.
It's like, knobs are useful.
Well, yeah, they can be.
Yeah, you can really open up with a knob.
You can, or a tire can be knobbed.
A tire can be knobbed?
Yeah, you got knobs on your tire.
Is that what those are called? The little...
Knobs?
Little knobbies?
Yeah, so for additional grip.
Don't be a knob. Don't be useful. Don't open up. That's what you're saying.
Is that what I was saying? Now I'm starting to wonder. It's like, is that what I said?
Maybe if you twist my words, I could call you a knob. Because you do twist a knob.
Sure.
Is the thumbprint door opener called a doorknob? You know what I mean?
No.
What do you call that? Is a doorknob only twisty?
Oh, man. There would be a latch.
A knob on a drawer is still a knob and it doesn't twist.
Wow.
It's a drawer knob.
Mind is blown.
And a doorknob that twists.
Hence why I say it's
just a door handle?
It's a handle. There's a knob.
What's the thumbprint? You know what I mean? Like you grab the handle and you push down with your thumb. That's not a doorknob?
Yeah, I know exactly. I don't have a word for it. It would just be categorized largely under handle. But it's different because it's not a handle. It's like a mechanized handle.
Interesting.
With some sort of latch clasp.
I bet that's what it's called.
That's a lot of words.
Mechanized handle with a latch clasp. It's on the front of every box.
If you go to Home Depot, start asking the builder.
Do you have a mechanized handle with a, what did you call it? Latch clasp?
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. And then they would take you right to the section.
And they'd probably say, you mean a doorknob?
Well, yeah.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking today about something way more fascinating. We're talking about this.
Marge, it's the Golden Rule.
The Golden Rule. I have no game because last week I prepared a game and we had to cram through the details because we rambled on.
Well, I have a game for you.
Do you?
I do.
Is it about knobs?
Well, no. But before we get too far into things,
if mechanized handle with latch clasp comes up in Riddlelink, I'll be very impressed.
I better quickly do it because it's not there. You don't have to remember that. We got a question come in from the Village Idiom children who are curious about the ending of your story.
Which story?
Now, it's months ago now where you got pulled over for a ticket.
Did I never finish this story? What?
Well, I know the end of the story because you told me, but I don't think it went out public as to what happened to the end. Like, what was and when we were talking about golden rules and do to others, and I was like, I don't know, it sounded kind of like a moral type thing, and then it got me thinking law, and I'm like, I wonder if this would be a good opportunity to share the end of the story if people haven't heard.
Well, if you haven't heard the beginning of the story,
yeah, give us the
very quick version. Quick intro. Is I got pulled over one evening. It's for sure more than a year ago.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Everything got time warped in COVID. I was going to say
2 years maybe.
Okay.
The actual pulling over. So I got pulled over for speeding, and I, denied it. Decided I'm gonna go fight this ticket.
Right.
Went.
It was like you were going 65 in a 50 zone. No, it wasn't.
Yeah. So
no, I've got it right on the radar gun here.
I went and they
I don't do that.
I was quizzed by the officer outside of the courtroom, and then in the courtroom, the officer had to leave, and the judge, before my case or whatever started, he quizzed me, telling me all the details, and a lot of people think they're speeding, and I'm like, no, that's not me. I just was not speeding. Well, did you have somewhere fast to go? No, I wasn't speeding. Like, I just stuck to the simple fact.
Right.
I did not
give no extra words, or they will be used against you in a court of law.
So after an hour more in that court, the officer comes back in, and the judge says, "We've run out of time. We're going to have to postpone this, unless you want to plead guilty right now." And I said, no. And so got a new court date months later. And so this is where we'll pick up. I went back in. Same thing. Officer outside the courtroom. Like, do you want to just plead guilty? We'll do
same
this.
Guy?
Same guy. Same officer. He showed up again. Darn it. That was the actual hope that he just wouldn't show. So, then we get in there, and this very similar circumstances. I'm like, I'm going to get bumped again, because they had promised me first.
Yeah.
On the docket, I was last. They kept bumping me. Unless I wanted to plead guilty, they'd bump me up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So finally, it's my turn. The officer had to
Admit
leave
your
again.
Crime.
And the judge is running through everything. Then we step up to bat, and I'm like, okay, we're actually going through with this. We're overtime. He could tell the judge is looking at the clock. They do not want to waste their time. That's what it is. And now that's all I want to do is waste their time. It became quickly evident I'm not going to get out of this. But it also became like, it was a bit of an eye-opener.
What was the principle? Like, you were just feeling principled? Like, I wasn't speeding. It wasn't me.
Yeah, at that point, I'm just like, a bunch of reasons at that point. I've been like, what did they... We've actually asked officer friends of ours, like, why were they pressing me so hard to plead guilty? What do they care? And so what I think it is time in court. They don't want to spend the time going through it. So when it actually came time to pleading my case, the officer went first, and he goes through just explicit details of the type of laser he's using and the this and the that. And then I said, he's like, do you have any questions? I said, no. They're like, are you sure? This is your only opportunity to ask him questions about his statement. I said, no. And so then
Like, was your unit recently calibrated, or?
So looking hindsight, every time you experience one of these things, you're like, oh, so I should have asked some questions, because there were some questions that would have potentially, now that I saw how he asked me, I could have, was it calibrated that day? Is there any, even a 1 in a million chance that you shone it on a different vehicle but pulled me over? Like, you know what I mean? Does it register my license plate? How do you know that it was my vehicle you clocked? Like, those kinds of things probably would have helped me. Instead, I just told my story. This is an area I drive in often. I'm not a speeder. I was under the speed limit on the first sign, which is just in 50 meters. So
I did glance down as I was drinking this beer.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Right, don't do that.
So go through my whole story, and immediately, do you have any questions for him? Do you have any questions? So now the officer's asking me questions, and he's like, would you, obviously, you're going on memory and you didn't write things down. And so, I said, I have notes. He goes, did you bring them with you? I'm like, I'm looking at them right now. Oh, can I read them? I'm like, absolutely. I said, bear in mind, these are notes for me, so it's nothing official. But I'm watching the cop read through everything I wrote. And there was stuff in there about just my opinion of the cop that I would never say in court.
Oh no!
Not bad. I'm glad you read it. Like, because it said
he was a very respectful, nice gentleman.
Yeah, I did say while he was very friendly, while he was this, he did not give me the time of day when I tried to talk to him about it. He walked away. He muttered under his breath, "Nobody listens. Nobody cares about the speed limits." Where I'm like, I do care. Like, this whole dialogue that we had is in there that he's reading it, and you could just see him reading it. He looked very contemplative as he read it. And I'm like, is this going to benefit me that I have stuff about him in there that I'm not sharing? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not, you can clearly tell I'm not a jerk.
Right.
Because I've got the jerk stuff on paper and I'm not sharing it with the judge. And so then he goes, okay, well, do you think that you have ever, in your life, have you ever sped either on purpose or by accident? And I said, yes, I have for sure sped on purpose. And I just waited.
That is so funny.
And he goes, oh, but like, also, have you ever sped by accident? I said, I'm sure if I was I can create a scenario in my head unrelated to today's case, like fictionalize a scenario where I could accidentally speed. You know, if there was a new sign put up in an area that otherwise wasn't there, like, yeah, I can create a scenario where
this is hilarious,
where I could have sped accidentally. Wasn't this though? Okay, but you do think you could accidentally speed in a very specific scenario where, as I described, where it's either an unfamiliar area or a new sign is put up. I can create a fictionalized situation where I would speed accidentally, and you could tell he's just like,
I have a master's in doublespeak. You know that, right?
So then, anyway, long story short, the judge immediately finds me guilty, and he says, you know, you really didn't give any proof that you weren't speeding. And I know this isn't a big deal. This is not. I'm not on trial for murder here. But
what about innocent till proven guilty?
Yeah, like,
is that stuff not real?
I have to prove that I wasn't speeding. How do I do that? A dash cam, maybe, that you saved the recording of. Other than that, you get pulled. And I actually asked, I'm like, so
burden of proof seems like it's on the top.
Well, and that's the thing is
But you didn't ask questions? Like that was where they were sticking you?
All it is his notes compared to my notes. Because it's not like he has a photo of the radar gun that day, but he wrote down that his gun said this, that his laser said this. And so now I would have asked more questions now that I'm like, oh, you're playing, this actually goes ping pong and back and forth a little bit. I should have asked questions. I just wasn't prepared. And probably still wouldn't have got me through, but it was a little eye-opener. I'm like, oh, I could have played a little harder. Okay, interesting. So he's like, you never once said in your description of that entire night, even though I said I was under the speed limit, I said I've traveled there before, I don't speed, I was in no hurry. Even though I said all these things, I never said, at the top of the hill, I glanced down at my speedometer and saw that, yes, I am notably under the speed limit. Because I didn't say I looked at it, even though I said when I saw the first sign, I slowed my speed before the next sign. I never uttered the words, I looked at my speedometer.
That's interesting.
And he said that was the one thing I probably should have said.
Well, so you're prepped. And illegitimate children, if you're out there and this happens to you, we have begun a new helpline, legal advice from Jurassic Park. So it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's speeding, murder.
I did love the look on his face. Do you think you've ever sped either on purpose or accidentally? Yes, I have for sure sped on purpose before. It was great.
That's amazing.
The silence in the room for a second. It was fun.
It's possible.
I enjoyed it all. And then I went downstairs and paid my, whatever, $200 or some stupid amount.
Is it possible that
But I had almost 2 years to save up for it.
Is it possible that in a case you've misjudged? Is it possible? Can you create a scenario where in a case that you've judged somebody inaccurately?
Right. Yeah.
That would you'd probably go to jail, or probably something bad would happen.
No, I think in that question and answer period, I now realize those are the kind of questions I should have said. Has your laser ever failed you? Is it possible that you shot it on this car but pulled over that car? Is it possible for you to make a mistake. Is there any room for error with regards to the laser? Because 1 in a billion is still room for error.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
There's a chance. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's funny. So in terms of like a golden rule, you felt like you handled yourself in a manner that was respectful.
I was respectful from
Yeah, because you're not a jerk.
from the side of the road to the first court proceeding to the second. I was never out of line. Yeah, yeah, which is
It goes to credit.
yeah. And so the bottom line is, I think the only reason they were pressuring me to plead guilty is time. So I guarantee that my $200, more court time was spent on their salaries than my fine.
So they're trying to get you in and out.
Yeah, they didn't make money off me. I'm telling you that right now.
You got your money's worth.
I got my money's worth.
And we got the story.
Best $200 I ever spent. I wish I could remember how much it actually was. But anyway, I wasn't speeding.
I find that so fascinating. So anyways, thanks. So, but golden rule, you did to others as you would have them do to you.
Yeah,
But you don't-
respectfully.
It might not have been reciprocated. They were respectful, of course.
Yeah, and nobody was, neither of them were a jerk. I felt the pressure the first time with the judge, just one-on-one with him. I'm like, that was...
So he's like, listen, I'm trying to save you money. Just
Take this timeshare. It was that high pressure.
So all I'm saying is that for 2 weeks a year, you can have the usage of the cabin if you just pay this much. But it would be half as much had you pleaded guilty to something that you didn't do.
It wouldn't, no. It would have saved me, in the end, it was going to save me $40.
Oh, so that story is worth $40.
So, yeah, so I was not...
In the end, you're not thinking about $40.
No, that was why
know
it wasn't
you-
even tempting at the beginning.
You would buy a paper airplane to throw out into the ocean for $40.
Sure.
Like you can make it a paper airplane. Like if it was like, I can sell you a paper airplane for $40, so you can just literally throw it out into the ocean to see how far you could do it.
Yeah, that I don't know if I'd buy.
I think you'd...
Why would I buy a paper airplane that I can make myself? This is a terrible example.
Well, it's on the fly. It's not. I'm not saying it's good. We've wasted money on stupider junk, is all I'm saying.
For sure.
Like Lloyd Christmas going to the store
For sure.
for
Yeah,
food and comes
yeah.
back with a bolo bat and a 10-gallon hat.
Yep. Yep, totally. That's me. Right, look, see my TV there? My Batman TV? We are surrounded by stuff we
Well,
shouldn't have spent money on.
Our village idiom children were going to be able to sleep at night now, knowing the conclusion to the story.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, but in terms of like a golden rule, you followed it. You followed things through. You acted in a manner that
I think
felt like.
I think
it came
golden
back.
rule is used for a variety of things. There's one main meaning that it has, and we'll get into that with origins. But I think people say that about like their life mantra. You know, my golden rule is family first. My golden rule is whatever. Well,
Before we go, don't tip it out because I got a game for you.
Okay, go. We're already.
Okay, well here's the game.
I thought the game was
The game is
You said
so
I got a game for you. Tell us about your court.
No. I got a game for you. I've got 3 choices for you.
Okay.
And so you just have to get it right, and then we can head into origins with your story.
Okay.
Okay. Which one? Okay.
Like, are we talking
The
just
golden rule.
trivia here, or what's happening?
Well, which one is actually accurate? The golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules. Number 1.
Okay.
Number 2. Do to others before they do it to you. Number 2.
Okay.
Number 3. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Illegitimate children, you can chime in.
Did you actually write all that down?
Yeah.
You made the game that I usually do,
Yeah.
but you didn't do the research to what the answer is.
Well, I'm guessing it's the Bible,
Okay.
like right off the bat, but
Well,
we'll find in. Well, I don't know.
My
I
guess
haven't heard
for
the
what it
origin song yet.
means is number 3: do unto others as you would have them do
Well,
unto
we'll
you.
see if you're right.
It's ridiculous.
I said some words, where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origin.
All right. Well, its meaning is In generally speaking, its meaning is exactly that. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That particular phrasing of it does come from the Bible. So you might say, treat others as you want to be treated, or behave accordingly. Like thinking of how you would like to be treated, that's how you treat others. So that is the golden rule. Now, I was with you going into this. I'm like, should we even do this as an idiom? Is this just a verse from the Bible? But then I started going, why is it called the golden rule? So first of all, it is from the Bible. It is literally Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, even though it's similar phrasing throughout the Bible to love your neighbor and treat others kindly. And
I even think like when a person's going through the Bible, sometimes there's a thing, the red letter editions where the words of Jesus are in red, but they'll break it into like chapters and paragraphs and stuff that weren't necessarily in the original scripts, but just for ease of reading, break it into paragraphs, and they'll title they'll give it their own header, so that as you're going into this paragraph, there's like Sermon on the Mount, or this is these things, and that comes up for
the golden rule.
Golden Rule.
So that's the funny thing, is because the words "the golden rule" that's not in the Bible. So that's what made me curious. Like, why is it called that? Did that just happen? Would we have called something else that if we didn't call that? You know what I mean? So the term golden rule, or golden law, sometimes is said, began to be used widely in the early 17th century in Britain by Anglican theologians and preachers. And the earliest known usage is that of Anglicans Charles Gibbon and Thomas Jackson in 1604. And it is those guys are referring to the Sermon on the Mount. However, the golden rule and that meaning is literally in every religion, almost every religion. And believe it or not, it predates the Sermon on the Mount. So it doesn't mean that Jesus grabbed it from something else. Because it's in so many religions, it probably is just one of those philosophies that is a good way to live, and many people have said it. But definitely, Jesus got the credit for sure.
Sure. Son of God.
Right. So it's also, if you break it down to a more technical term, instead of calling it the golden rule, it's sometimes referred to as the ethic of reciprocity. So exactly what it sounds like. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Reciprocate what you would like to be treated back to somebody else.
Makes sense.
So philosophers disagree about the nature of the golden rule. Some have classified it as, bear with me, Deontological Ethics, which is from the Greek deon, meaning obligation, whereby decisions are primarily by considering one's duties and rights towards others. So it's an obligation, and others simply refer to it as a virtue or a greater good, and that kind of thing. So here's a few things that I thought was interesting, things that the golden rule should not be confused with. Revenge, or an eye for an eye. So it's not do unto others what has been done unto you. So that is not the golden rule.
Do unto others before they do it to you.
Even though that's reciprocal, that is not the golden rule. The golden rule should also not be confused with something called the Wiccan Rede, or the liberty principle, which is an ethical prohibition against aggression. So it's not, it doesn't give you the right to do anything like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, well, I'm going to let them punch me in the face. So now I can go punch. It doesn't give you the right to do anything you want. That is not the golden rule. It's not just that it's reciprocated. And lastly, the golden rule of ethics should not be confused with a rule, quote unquote rule, in the semantic or logical sense. So it's not a rule. So in the positive form of golden rule is that it would require someone who enjoys experiencing pain to harm others, like what I was just saying. Well, I'd like you to punch me in the face. Therefore,
so I can punch you in the face.
I like holding flames to the palms of my hand. Therefore, so it's not
right, because
even though you would like to be treated that way, it doesn't go. It's not a rule,
right?
Like follow it to the letter. So those are more the philosophy sides of things. Golden rule in world's religions. So it goes way back. Buddhism, 500 BC. Ancient Egypt goes to like 1640. Here's one that I had written down. It's from the Tale of the Eloquent Peasant. So this is Egyptian literature from somewhere between 1970 and 1640 BC. So way predates the Sermon on the Mount. And it's this in English: do for one who may do for you, that you may cause him thus to do. Now, the fact that it rhymes in English and it's Egyptian, I think we had a little leeway with the translation, but it's basically do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Sure.
So that is the oldest. Well, I say that's the oldest. Well, I'll come back to it. I have an example of one older, but for factual basis, that is definitely the oldest I could find in religion. By far, the most famous is Christianity and Jesus. No, that's me.
What?
Right? Just better off dead. You have to watch the video for that one. But literally, name a religion. The rule of reciprocity. There it is. Reciprocity is in it across the board. But Jesus takes the award-winning. He got the Nobel Peace Prize on this.
Absolutely.
Even though other religions are going, wait a minute.
Man of the year.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I said
the Lord.
I said I did find one older example, and I found The Golden Rule, a website that is dedicated to Golden Rule chronologically. And the first one goes to 1 million BC. The fictional Fred Flintstone helps a stranger who was robbed and left to die. He says, I'd want him to help me. Golden Rule of thinking is born. So that's the oldest.
Fred Flintstone?
It's Fred Flintstone. 1 million BC. And then
we're not sure if it's accuracy.
More realistically, 1 million BC to 10,000 BC, humans find that cooperative hunting works better. So that's working together. It's not really the golden rule, but and then I'm unfamiliar with exactly what this is, but 1450 to 450 BC. Oh, no, this is not the one I was thinking of. This is the Old Testament. Jewish Bible has golden rule-like passages. So don't oppress a foreigner, for you know how it feels to be a foreigner. Since you were foreigners yourself in the land of Egypt, that's Exodus. And, of course, love your neighbor as yourself in Leviticus. So that's older than the Sermon on the Mount, still within the Bible. And then it gets newer than that, covering every culture, every language, every religion.
See? You're educated. You got more material around the water cooler today. You're just like, hey, no, you go ahead. It reminds me of a little thing called the Golden Rule. You're probably thinking that that was from the Lord.
Oh, let's continue. My pursuit of why is it called the Golden Rule didn't come to a for sure thing other than what I said. It's just one of those things like that's the ultimate rule.
The most valuable.
That's the most valuable. However, I did discover some extras like the Silver Rule and the Platinum Rule.
Oh, okay. Now you've got water cooler material.
What is the Silver Rule? The Silver Rule is a variation and somewhat inversion of the Golden Rule. So the Silver Rule states, do not do unto others as you would not have them do unto you. Do I hear that again?
Wow, I'm just trying to think what that means.
Do not do unto others as you would not have them do unto you. So the Silver Rule has its own deficiency, as it only requires an individual to not harm others. So it's not doing kindness. It's just not harming. It's almost neutral. It's just don't harm that person. Like it. Do anything you want as long as it doesn't harm that person. That's the Silver Rule.
No, it's don't do anything you want.
Don't do anything that you would not have them do unto you. So like, don't harm.
This sounds like one of them double negative situations.
Yeah, it's easier to say don't harm someone, but that's not inherently good. You're just not harming them. You're not helping anybody. You're not doing something to them that you would want done to you.
Right.
You're not doing anything.
Just stay on the sideline always.
Yeah.
That's tricky.
And then the Platinum Rule, which I think is worth more than gold. Isn't platinum worth more than gold?
I guess it depends on its application.
So the Platinum Rule says we should do unto others the way they want us to do unto them. So it's not what you would want them to do to you. You do to them what they would want you to do to you, which might be elevated higher than what you would want them to do unto you.
That's like a 5 love languages kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the Platinum Rules. Do unto others as they would want you to do unto them.
I don't like it. But I could see there's parts of it's like, well, what would, like in the love languages, what would speak love to you?
Food.
Then
cinnamon buns.
So if cinnamon buns would make you happy, then of course I would get you cinnamon buns.
Shoulder massage.
Okay. Yeah, you're just going to have to be unhappy today. Well, what was that one about don't do anything? Because that's what's going to happen if you want
the silver rule.
Shoulder
You're
massages.
just not harming me.
Yeah.
Actually, you might harm me if I let you do that.
Man. Well, we were heading into the home stretch here.
Crazy.
Before the rules get
Fun times.
any more twisted.
Golden rule.
I like it. Thanks for that info. It's good stuff, man. Very educational. Well, we are heading into a little phase of things we like to call the Riddlinks.
Riddlink is a game we like to play that takes a two-part trivia-based question and requires a two-part overlapping answer. Overlapping by sound, syllable, or word or words. And so, for example, last week, seems so long ago, episode 164, a doozy of an idiom, close but no cigar. And we left you with, what did we left? Because you left us with one.
Oh, dear.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was
It was about the castle concrete.
Yeah. So missed it. Narrowly missed it. Do you remember it? I should have written it down.
You've got
It's usually my narrowly missed target with a
castle concrete
being.
Something like that. Monster was in there.
Monster. Okay, so close but no cigar. Gargoyle. Close but no cigar goyle. That's tricky. Tongue twister.
Yeah.
Close but no cigar goyle. That's how you play Riddling.
Your Gargamel one was better.
You Smurf villain.
You smurfed the Smurf out of my Smurf. Here we go.
Okay, go.
This outsider should stay gold as a karma chameleon.
I said I had two.
Shut up.
I only have one now.
That is ridiculous.
I worded it. Where is it? I worded it a little bit different. I said, as Johnny says to Ponyboy, the ethic of reciprocity.
Okay, so I did this outsider. So I didn't use the name. This outsider should stay gold as a karma chameleon.
Oh, so you want the whole thing.
This outsider should stay gold as
it's not the same.
as a karma chameleon.
Oh, so it's
that's okay. You can use it on me.
Stay gold, Ponyboy George.
That's it. Stay gold.
Well,
it's Ponyboy George.
Ponyboy George. Oh yeah. So it's not the same, but funny, similar.
Close, but no
so
cigar.
mine was, as Johnny says to Ponyboy, the ethic of reciprocity.
Tell me again.
As Johnny says to Ponyboy, the ethic of reciprocity.
Stay golden rule.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, you got me tied up there for a minute.
It's funny.
Okay.
Two themed, but actually different.
It's special.
I jumped to
It's a mind meld.
conclusion that it was actually the same.
Well, it had some of the same elements. Close enough.
I got one more.
Here we go.
Mine's really tricky. Is yours easy?
Mike Tyson.
Wait. Don't go any further. Maybe yours should be left for the village. Because mine is... I'm like, no, I don't know if anybody's going to get mine.
Well, they can research yours.
I can at least... No, I don't know if they can.
Okay.
I can at least talk you through it.
Okay.
So...
I'll go.
Okay.
This one's for me. Illegitimate children.
Do unto others way of living is an approximate method of doing things hitchhiker style.
The golden rule of thumb?
Oh, okay, you got it. I thought it was trickier than that.
Wow.
Because I'm basically saying nothing in
I
my
thought the
clue.
rule of thumb was not, something about beating your spouse with something that was...
I don't know if that's true.
Isn't that what you said on the last one?
We've talked about that being a legend. We've never covered that.
You think it's like legendary? Like that would
beat your
happen?
spouse. I added the hitchhiker thing just to get you on track.
Onto the thumb part?
Because the way we use rule of thumb is an approximate method of...
Okay.
This is how most people do.
The golden rule
blah,
of
blah, blah.
thumb.
Yeah. Okay, you got
see?
it. There you go.
Our illegitimate children would have dominated on that one.
I don't know if we've ever done rule of thumb as an idiom. I'll have to go back and see.
Okay.
How do people get in touch with us?
You can reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or email us, thevillageidiompodcast@gmail.com, or whether it's the Facebooks, the YouTubes, or the Twitters at 3 Minutes Gone.
Beauty.
Here we go. Mike Tyson's manager has the golden touch.
Say it again.
Mike Tyson's manager has the golden touch. Got a little something to it. And that is 3 minutes gone.
Interesting. Mike Tyson's manager has the golden touch.
Yeah, well, don't give away too much. Let them chew on it a
got
bit.
The second part. I don't have to Google. I might have to Google that one.
Oh, once you see it, you'll be sad with yourself.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's straightforward. I can hear people screaming it right into their sound system right now. Well, it was fun putting today's episode together. We had a good time. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Back to work. Time to finish your workout. All of these related things. I'm Skinny.
I'm Jurassic Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms. Baby, bye, bye, bye.
Oh, you talked right over the line.
Last 3 minutes gone.